Hi, I'm Dr. Kaayla Daniel, the Naughty Nutritionist and co-author with Sally Fallon Morell of the best-selling book Nourishing Broth, an Old-Fashioned Remedy for the Modern World. And I'm here today to talk about calcium. There's an often repeated myth that calcium is abundant in bone broth. Indeed, some people say there's as much calcium in a cup of bone broth as in a cup of milk. Well, folks, I'm sorry to say, but that is simply not true. Indeed, there's not very much calcium at all. But have no fear, bone broth does live up to its bone-building reputation. And I'm first going to talk about the calcium issue with broth, but then tell you why you should still drink bone broth if you want good bones. So what about that calcium? You'd certainly think that if you're making homemade bone broth using lots of bones and cooking it a good long time, and especially if you're using vinegar or a little wine, that you'd be pulling out lots of minerals. And we all know most bones are about 50% calcium plus plenty of other trace minerals, including magnesium, sodium, potassium, sulfur, and many others, all of which we need for good bone building. So it's all in there, but your bone broth is just going to have trace amounts of all of those, not rich levels, trace amounts. No, those are certainly bioavailable, but still small amounts. So how can that be? Some of you are saying, well, where'd they get their information? That just can't be right. It defies common sense. And that's true. We found that information shocking ourselves. But the most thorough research on the subject was actually done in 1934 from a team of researchers at King's Hospital in London. And those researchers compared bone broth, various types of it, some made with bones alone, some made with vegetables, using different cooking processes, and compared them to milk. And the results for the bone broth with calcium were, frankly, pathetic, really low. The results ranged from 12 to 68 milligrams per cup compared to milk, which tested at 280 to 303 milligrams per cup. Quite a difference there. So we looked into that, and we looked at USDA figures, which were pretty much the same, very little calcium in bone broth. And then we decided we needed to test for ourselves. So we used good old-fashioned homemade bone broth from pastured animals, highest quality bone broth cooked a good long time using the vinegar or the wine, and still the figures were low for calcium. So how do we get calcium if we're going to have soups and stews and broths? Well, that's actually quite simple because there are many dietary sources of calcium. And if we add vegetables to the broth, we're going to get calcium right there. Indeed, the King's College Hospital researchers did find that out. And a classic way to make bone broth is with the mirepoix of onions, celery, and carrots. So we're going to get some calcium there. And those of us who like bean soups may end up adding some kale, which is calcium rich, in the final stages. Do recommend adding it late in the game and not early on, or you're going to have a nasty tasting bitter broth. So we can get our calcium that way. And those of us who do tolerate dairy well can look to cream soups and chowders, delicious. And we recommend raw milk and cream ideally, and do add it at the last minute as you're serving it at the table. Keep that milk and cream raw. So the question then is, how can bone broth support bone building when it really is low in calcium? And the answer is quite simple. Bone broth is rich in collagen, and collagen is the most important thing for bone building. Collagen is actually more important than calcium. And the reason is this: our bones need the structure of collagen fibers. So it's the structure that's most important for strong, flexible bones, and the calcium gets laid on that. So yes, we do need calcium, magnesium, and other minerals, absolutely. But the most important thing is the collagen framework. And what's going to help us most for that? Good old-fashioned bone broth. So do drink up meat tea and plenty of soups and stews. I'm Dr. Kaayla Daniel, the Naughty Nutritionist, and please do join our broth making community at nourishingbroth.com. And go there, and we've got some free things for you, including my free little ebook, Be Super, 7 Ways to Boost Your Health and Energy with Broth. And Sally Fallon Morell has some extra recipes, and her free little ebook is called Extra Helpings of Nourishing Broth. So please do visit us there. Thank you.